consecrating the statues. Yesterday we filled them, and we filled them with mantras that have been rolled, and then incense and different blessed pills and blessed substances, and then sometimes jewelry people have offered, or pretty stones, or whatever people consider very, very beautiful. So these are offered to the Buddhas, and we fill the statues with them, and they're filled in a very particular way. Different mantra rolls go in at different places in the statues. The purpose of consecrating the statues is we invoke the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas to abide there, and thus it makes it a more powerful object for us to make offerings to, and to do our practices in the presence of. So then the question comes, well, then are Buddhists worshipping idols? Okay, and this is a big question for many people. No, we aren't worshipping idols. Okay, the purpose of the statues is to remind us of the qualities of the Buddha. Clearly a piece of bronze or a lump of clay is not going to give us enlightenment. Yeah, the material itself is not the holy object, but we use these as reminders. So it's the same way that, when you're traveling, you may have a photograph of, your family or your pets or your teachers or whoever you consider dear, and you look at the photograph and it reminds you of the qualities of that person, and it warms your heart. So in the same way, when we look at the statue, we think of the qualities of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and then respect those qualities and develop the wish to generate those qualities in our mind. But just in the same way as you're not, you don't take the photograph of your loved ones and start kissing it, I hope. Then because you realize that the photograph aren't the people, it's just a representation. So the same way when we see statues, they're a representation of the qualities. But then the question comes, well, then why are we invoking the presence of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas there? And also the question comes, well, if the Buddha's mind is omniscient, and wherever the Buddha's mind is, then the Buddha's subtle body is, then why do we even need to invoke the presence of the Buddhas there? Because the Buddhas have omniscient mind, and so the subtle body is everywhere. It's done, I think, as a way for our limited minds to gain more faith. Okay, because we don't really think that the Buddha, we can't really think of the omniscient mind and the omniscient mind being everywhere. So invoking the presence of the holy ones in a place is done for our limited mind, so that we feel, oh, the Buddhas are here. Actually the Buddha's everywhere all the time anyway. Okay, it's just we don't see it. Yeah. So when we invoke the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas there, it's a way to help our mind, so that when we look at the images, we think more of the Buddha's qualities and generate the respect for them and the aspiration to generate those same qualities ourselves. Okay, so that's the purpose of the whole thing. Yeah, but we're not worshipping idols. On the other hand, they do have stories in Tibet of certain statues that could speak, but I don't know that these statues could speak to everybody. Yeah, because I think you have to have a certain level of mind for a statue to speak to you. Yeah, and so they say that actually, I think it's on the third part of the path of preparation of the Bodhisattva path, that then you're able to see the Buddha's statues as the Nirmanakaya Buddha and receive teachings from them. But I think that has to do not with the fact that the statue, that you're worshiping statues, but with the level of your mind and the, you know, the ability of your mind to get a sense of what enlightenment is and feel closer to enlightenment, and because of the openness and receptivity of one's own mind, that could happen. Yeah. So in the same way that, you know, for the high-level bodhisattvas, this appears as a pure land, whereas for us it's just, you know, same old samsara. So for people who have higher realizations, then they can see things in different places that we can't, and relate to objects that we see as quite ordinary. They can relate to them in a quite extraordinary way. Yeah. If you ask me exactly how that works, then I say, practice the path, gain the realization, and then you can tell me. Okay? Because I think it's one of these things that when, you know, we're at lower levels of the path, it's difficult to actually outline the process of how that occurs. But, you know, we can see that, you know, okay, people with clairvoyant or clairaudience, they can hear these sounds that the birds hear and the dogs hear that we can't hear. Okay? Yeah, so, you know, in other words, there's things that if you develop your mind, you can see beyond the limits of our ordinary five senses. That's the point here.